Dave Wendelin. I am the director of National English Honor Society. And what I hope is a rather informal conversation to unfold this evening as we kind of share some ideas and some new features that we have for NEHS. We've designated this year as Reigniting NEHS chapters. As you well know, lots of challenges have been in front of all educators, the whole country, obviously, over the past year. And while we have had some fine growth, we are trying to think about this year as a way to kind of reinvigorate, maybe restart things that might have been put on the back burner last year because of all the things that were going on. Um, I'm here tonight representing the Advisory Council for National English Honor Society, a group of 10 or 11 folks who share their leadership with me and are regional representatives for all of you who are able to answer any questions and give you lots of support. So tonight we're going to just go over some procedural things. If you're a new advisor, we hope this is good information. If you're a returning advisor, you'll see some new things and some reorganization of things. And we hope that you find this beneficial. Again, if you've come in recently, if you have questions, use the Q&A feature for this um, platform, and we'll see if we can answer those the best we can. I'm going to signal my colleague Naaman to advance the slides as we move forward with this evening. So Naaman, we're ready to go. As I said, you are uh, well aware of all the challenges that we've had over the course of the last year. So the first thing I want to say to you is thank you. Thank you from our perspective as leaders of National English Honor Society. Thank you for just being who you are as educators and dealing with so much in the last year. We hope that we're emerging from the pandemic. I'm afraid that we are seeing signs that maybe we have some troubled waters ahead of us, but we'll hope that we can move forward as best we can. I know that you'll give it your all, and we certainly will do. We will also. Um, in spite of the pandemic, NEHS continues to grow. It may be of interest to you that we inducted 24,000 members last year, which is a sizable number of folks to come into an organization. I would also tell you, though, that that's about half of what we normally do in a given year. So we're down from what we've done in the past, but we are encouraged by that number and we hope that it grows. We have about 912 active chapters. This last 2 weeks, we've had a flurry of international chapters come on board and a few from the United States. So we continue to grow and we hope that that strength is going to continue. Um, I want to highlight one aspect that's new this year for those of you that are returning. Those of you that are new, this is not new information, it's just what you know. But you'll see that we've increased the student membership fee to $15. We found that absolutely necessary this year. When we started this organization in 2005, we had a $10 membership fee, and we've maintained that for the last 15 years. But at this point, as you well know, costs for everything have gone up, and we just have found it necessary. Remember that this is a one-time fee. Students pay that only once, regardless of the time that they come into to NEHS. And so we hope that that's a reasonable expectation. We do, however, have a fee reduction opportunity. So those of you that might work in schools that have high populations of free and reduced lunches, or have situations that are unique to a particular family, we can reduce that fee to $5. There is a form that will be on the website soon that will allow you to make application for that. And so know that that's an opportunity if you have to do that. And we don't want to have that cost be a barrier for anybody's membership. Next slide, please. So we have some new planning tools. The website, if you've looked at it, has been reorganized a little bit. Primarily, I want to focus in on the chapter chapter link that is on our webpage. Obviously, you're not going there now, but when you go back to the website and you click on chapter, you'll see that that's been reorganized and has some new features. One of those features that is a chapter checklist. The advisory council felt that it would be valuable if we just gave you a list of sequential things that you might do at the beginning of the year as you're preparing for membership, as you're preparing for induction, as you're trying to get your chapter launched. There's just a sequence of reminders that is in an actual checklist that you can use to kind of guide you as an advisor or your chapter officers as they're making plans. We also have that form in a Excel format. So if you prefer to have an actual checklist and actually do the checking and putting some dates and perhaps notes to yourself, that's also available uh, for you this year. Also, under the chapter heading, you'll find some sample year-long calendars. One is an actual calendar from Linganore High School in Maryland. Our advisor council member Natalie Rabitsky has put that together. So it gives a detail of what she plans to do all year long every month. We also have a broader, a longer year-long calendar that just makes some suggestions month by month what you might want to do, preparing students for opportunities, contests, scholarship windows, that kind of thing. That's available to you there. You'll also find in that section some conversation about chapter bylaws and actual sample bylaws from some chapters. And I want to linger on that point for just a minute. It's critical that you develop bylaws. We have samples. You can download ours from the national office, but we think you need to think about your unique situation, your school, and what you need to be able to outline for your members. In particular, you want to make sure that you're clear on how you will select members. If you go beyond the basic minimum requirement of 3.0 grade point average in English classes and overall, and add some things, you want to make sure that all of your applicants know that, as well as your faculty, your administrators, and your parents. I would tell you that I get rather regularly some inquiries from parents who are uh, questioning the decisions that schools make, and it can be clarified in your bylaws. So please make sure. You might have to start out this year with minimum, but then you can ask your officers and your members to kind of sit down together and talk about what is it that we have as expectations and make sure that those are spelled out. Finally, you'll see on other pages within the website some reorganization. So just browse around, and certainly if you have questions, contact your regional administrator, your representative, or certainly you can contact me or the central office, and we'll try to support you as much as we can. Next slide, please. One of the features that you know if you're a returning advisor, and certainly if you're a new advisor and have already enrolled members, you know about NEHS Connect, which is our database system. I want to just highlight a few things, and there's one new feature this year that some of you might want to use. Um, as you know, you enroll members through the Connect system. And we want to make sure that you understand that it's a distinction between enrolling members and inducting members. You can induct members at your school and you'll have a fine ceremony and that's all wonderful. But they are not active members until you enroll them and their fees are paid. So don't assume that induction carries over into the database system. There are actually three ways to enroll members: classic enrollment, which has two parts, or invitation enrollment. Let me just spend a moment to talk about each. Classic enrollment is what most people do. This is entering students' names and information one by one into the database system. However, if you have a larger membership class coming in, 25, 50, some of our chapters have 100, 150 new members every year, it might be easier to do a bulk upload. And you'll find instructions for bulk upload in Connect and also on the web page. Basically what happens is you can create an Excel spreadsheet, putting all the information in quickly into that and then upload that directly into NEHS Connect. It saves some time, but it may be for smaller chapters easier just to do one by one, but that is available and has been. A new feature this year that some people have started to use is enrollment by invitation. Again, the instructions are on the web page. But basically, what you would do is identify individuals in your school who you would like to invite for membership. The system will send them an email. If they respond positively, yes, I'd like to become a member, and you okay that, then they themselves will be able to upload their own information, pay their own fees, and you can not um, have to manage that as an advisor. We understand that there's a lot of extra work for advisors. So if you'd like to have your students do that on their own, you can use the enrollment by invitation feature. And certainly, if you have questions about that, we are here to help you. Next slide, please. Sorry about that. That's my phone ringing, and um, my daughter's trying to call. So, uh, chapter spotlight. This is a new feature this year. We are trying to kind of spark everybody to get going on some things. So we're going to try to value that work that you do. It's amazing every year. I am so proud of all the things that I get to read about that chapters are doing. So this year we're going to highlight some of that. And we're going to encourage chapters to share chapter projects throughout the year. There are 5 submission windows that have been identified. They are those dates are spread throughout the year. The first one is already opened earlier this week and runs through the early part of October. And then there are 4 others that go out throughout the year. You're encouraged to think about what are the good things that you're doing, and we want you to share that good news. We've organized the chapter spotlight into 3 categories for projects that you might want to consider. And these aren't by no means intended to be limiting. We just want to make sure that you have some opportunities for differences. For example, you might have a chapter innovation idea. You want to try something brand new this year. You're going to give it a shot, or you tried something new last year and it didn't quite go as well as you wanted to do it. So you're going to try it again. For example, you might do a spelling bee with a middle school. You might be the leaders for that, and it didn't go as well as you had liked last year. So you're going to try it again. So you're innovating. That would be great. We'd like to learn about that. Take some pictures, maybe some videos, have an officer write a narrative and upload that. And we can take a look at it and maybe feature you throughout the year. Maybe you want to do some academic motivation. You want your members to enter other writing competitions from other organizations. You want to have a book talk within your library or within your community. You want to invite an author to come into your chapter meeting, maybe through a Zoom opportunity. All of that is academic. So talk about it. Tell us what you did. Tell us how that was successful, and then you can encourage other students, other chapters to do the same thing. Maybe you want to go out into the community. You want to have some pen pals in a 5th grade classroom. Maybe you want to have your students, your members, address the school board about a particular issue that's important to you and to them. There are all kinds of things you can do. You can partner with another organization that's doing a book drive. You can do some support around a little free library. Whatever the case, we'd love to know about those things, and we would like you to submit them, and we'll take a look at them. The advisory council then is going to take a look at all of the submissions during each of those windows throughout the year and select the best that we see. Those will be identified and touted a little bit. Each of those chapters will receive a $50 gift award, and we'll send you a little certificate of accomplishment. But regardless, if you submit to this chapter spotlight project, all chapters that do will also be in consideration for outstanding chapter of the year, which carries a much higher award, as you can well imagine, because you're then competing against all of the other chapters. So we really want you to give this some ideas, some thought, and have your chapter officers come up with some ideas, and then tell us what's going on. It would be a wonderful thing for all of us to learn about your good work. Next slide, please. Writing opportunities. Oh my goodness, there are so many. We're just going to highlight a few of them tonight. Um, The same 5 windows for the chapter spotlight, same dates, are being used this year for the writing contest. If you've been with us for several years, you know that we've been running writing contests that have been very, very popular. There were some months last year when we had over 100 students submitting stories or poetry, and it was just fantastic. Uh, but uh, on a monthly basis, we were getting overwhelmed, to be honest with you, trying to read and evaluate all of that. So we've identified again 5 windows. This year, we're going back to poetry. You can write in any form of poetry that you'd like. This is open to advisors as well as students, and they are poems that are going to be written around designated themes, which are outlined for you on the web page under the writing tab. So throughout the year, students have choice to pick a theme to write about and to submit. And again, their award for the 5 windows is uh, publication. But at the end of the year, we'll take a look at all of those who were published, and we will identify the best writers of the year. So we really want to encourage you to encourage your members to do the same thing. Already opened this year's the Intellectual Freedom Challenge. This is done in conjunction with the American Library Association's Banned Book Week. We're asking students who are sophomores or juniors and they're members of NEHS to write an argumentative essay, well reasoned, about a particular text that has been banned, could be banned, or if that's their opinion, should be banned from use in school. They can have any opinion, but we expect that they do some excellent writing and give some logical explanation for their position. Those may be submitted anytime between now and October 4th. And again, those are financial awards for those students who write the very best essays. Most of you know about the scholarship program that we run. That's probably the biggest writing opportunity that we have for the year. This is for seniors who will be graduating at the end of this year. Um, Last year, we gave $60,000 worth of scholarships to excellent writers. This year, we've increased that amount to $65,000. And those are essays that are submitted based on the Common Reader, which this year is The Beekeeper of Aleppo. Again, if you go under the scholarship tab on the website, you can find more information about that. But that's a very popular, very highly competitive um, uh, opportunity for kids who are going to graduate this year and move on to college next year. All of this is about touting good writing. So at any time throughout the year, if you have students who you think are doing well and want to submit something about your chapter to the newsletter, we'd love to have those sent to us, and we will consider them for publication as we go throughout the year. Next slide, please. Another feature that we started last year, honestly, because of the pandemic and most schools being online, virtual, uh, are the NEHS webinars. Tonight is one of those. This is more about administration than anything else. But in the coming months, we have a whole series of webinars that we think you will find interesting. Next month, we have 2 leaders from National English Honor Society and Sigma Tau Delta, our parent organization, who are going to be talking about new books that they've read over the course of the last few months that might be included into the canon or used for independent study. So they'll be doing a book talk next month, and we hope that you'll find that interesting and be introduced to some new titles. We'll also take time next month to also talk about the Common Reader in a little more detail, to identify some specific dates that are important to know for those students who are going to enter the Common Reader, the scholarship program, and see if you have any questions about that. In November, we're very excited about this. We're still working on the details, but we think we are going to be able to say that we're going to have a conversation with the beekeeper, the individual who was actually the inspiration for the main character in The Beekeeper of Aleppo. This gentleman lives in the United Kingdom. He was a refugee from Syria. He is a beekeeper. And the main character in The Beekeeper of Aleppo is also that. So we get to have this conversation with him. We believe it will be a type of TED Talk, if you will, where we will have an interview with him prior to the webinar, and then we will play that conversation and that interview on the night of November 11th. So we're very excited about that, and we hope that that will um, come to fruition. In December, we're giving another opportunity to learn about Charles Dickens. A good friend of the Society, Tom Wingate, who is a head teacher in Mexico City and also a Dickens scholar, shared his insights about Dickens last year in December, and it was wildly popular. We had one of the biggest audiences of the year, so we're going to do that again. December is often the key month for focusing in on Dickens writing, and so we'll hope that you can join us on December 9th. And then in uh, early part of the new year, Dr. Tanya Perry, who's a good friend of mine and a brilliant academician, she teaches at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, will talk with us about how we can use our interest in our strengths in English, being as readers or writers or speakers for good, and what power we have. I think it'll be a fine evening for that particular conversation. So I'm looking forward to that. And then not on this slide, but later in the year, toward the end of the year, particularly for graduating seniors and advisors, we'll do a reprise of a conversation about what about uh, honor societies at the university level. We'll give you some insights in how you can approach those. Next slide, please. And finally, last one, and then we'll address questions if we can. We have some other awards for chapters, advisors, and individuals. We just want to highlight these. All of these, more information can be found on the webpage under Scholarships, Awards, and Grants. But let me just highlight some things. Project grants, right now, this month is the time to apply for a grant. This is for second semester projects that you have in mind. We have up to $200 per grant for chapters who want to do something really unique uh, or need a few extra dollars in order to make it happen. So if you could use $200 in your chapter to do something successful with something in your community, please apply. That opportunity closes October 4th, and we again are making those grants for second semester of this school year. We also have advisor grants, and honestly, this goes untapped year after year for the most part. We want to value educators, and we know advisors have opportunities to extend their own learning. So if you are going to attend a conference, be it online or actually, or want to do a book study with your English department members and would like to have some funding for that, we have grants for advisors up to $350 per grant that we can consider. So please look for information about that and make application. Classroom library grants. This is specifically for new early career teachers of English. In the first 5 years of their career, if they are an NEHS advisor or they are teaching in a school with an NEHS chapter, they can apply for a grant to establish a library in their classroom. Up to $400 is available per grant, and we encourage those early career teachers to find ways to build a classroom library that will be inviting to their students. So please look for that information. The window for that is right now, September 7th through October 4th. So it's important to meet the deadline for that, and then we will make some decisions about those recipients. And finally, Summer Study Awards. This is a long range piece, but it comes to mind because we just had last summer's uh, uh, awardees report back to us about their activities. This is for juniors who will be going into their senior year next year in 2022, who are going to do some work in the summer studying something English related, and we would like to support that effort. So we have about $750 um, uh, $750 a piece for those awards to encourage people to attend some summer program. Finally, the resources page, just for information, pretty basic information. Let me tell you also that all of you, because you're participating tonight, will receive a link tomorrow, an email from me that will give you the link to these uh, PowerPoint slides, so you can have all this information. You can share this with your chapters, your officers if they were not able to be here with us, and see if you can find other information that's helpful to you.